prosaic journeyman here, probably, in many respects. Although I'm interested in the theoretical and the conceptual and the abstract, I'm also interested in process, and I'm also interested in application, and I'm also interested in results. And I think you've heard Nigel and others say this too, but art can become, it's important that it become a personal process. But at the same time, it will be overly sentimentalized if we don't actually have some kind of impact result. So one of the things that goes on in, one of the things that goes on in artistic communities is the challenge to speak the truth. How do you think as artists you're going to transcend? I think the beauty of what the artistic community is trying to do today to transcend that is to say, we can at least engage you through beauty. And if you're looking at beauty as something deeper, the good, the true, the beautiful. Elaine Scarry told us that her department had said, excuse me, but we would prefer you not to equate beauty with truth, because it suggests some kind of transcendent norm that we don't necessarily accept departmentally or as a university. Thanks, Ed. So when you look at those conditions, and Dave Mahan and others, and there are many academics here I know, in the environment you're in, it's already prejudicial. It is not uniquely set upon to pursue the truth at any cost and to really weigh into debates with the kind of openness that you might have seen in a university atmosphere 150 years ago. And you could argue that maybe they wouldn't have had the same level playing field then, but you had at least something closer to a level playing field. So if those are the conditions we're in, and we're all trying to get an invitation to the party in our various and respective disciplines. In other words, if you're an artist here and you want acceptance in the broader scope of patronage, it's nice to kind of be an artist and sell your works, right? Well, who's at the top of the art world? If you read the art magazines, and basically it's people who have the philosophic and political and therefore business anointing of a very specific cabal or series of cabals of influence. Anybody who knows the art world in New York will tell you it is extraordinarily political. Whatever your particular, I'm leaving all kinds of, a poet, writer, whatever your discipline is, you've got to be extraordinarily good. And you need something that looks more like, if you're an existentialist, the heroism of your personal journey is found in struggling to find an applied meaning to what is otherwise the result of nothing more than time plus chance plus matter. If you're on the meaning side, you're starting out by a far more deductive discovery. This might be inductive, this might be deductive, and here's the rub. What if that meaning has moral implications? The beauty of existentialism, to the extent that you see it on the surface, is it divorces people from any necessity to live with moral responsibility. You're just a faster animal in a rat race. You're an evolved creature. And basically, you'd be doing the rest of the evolved creation a favor by getting rid of the dead weight. The eugenics movement, before Hitler got a hold of this stuff, certainly believed that. The utopian movement had the dalliance with that. These are not new ideas, but what they say is if we're an evolutionary species, for God's sake, do the whole species a favor and get rid of the dead weight. Selective society where everything is manipulated, everything is... You think you have all this freedom, but it's freedom within a very, very specific set of pre-selected boundaries. Freedom begins with a kind of spiritual revolution. Who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? What is my real source and sense of identity? Because remember, we're part of this sort of vaguely amorphous global structure. Yes, we're part of all humanity. I loved Roberta Amundsen's ending last night quoting John Donne, because you asked for whom the bell tolls. The bell tolls for thee, because I'm a part of humanity. That's true. But the role and place and position we take in what we export, generatively, you hope, one hopes. The place of cities, these cities are often poorly planned. 30% of our cities will be brand new in the next 15 to 20 years. And at the same time, we're divorcing ourselves from history in many cases, and we're seeing what the limits of this kind of tension are in our urban centers. What is culture? The next question is, how do the arts impact its formation? What you might know about Howard and Roberta Amundsen is they made a huge commitment to a small town in Iowa to bring art and culture back to this town. That doesn't mean that it takes off instantly, but they created this phenomenal center for art and culture in a small Iowa town. The TO, Chief Technical Officer, gave rise to the CIO, the Chief Information Officer. Now you read the Harvard Business Review, you've got the CKO, the Chief Knowledge Officer of big enterprise, because they have so much data information, all their research and activity and process, they don't even know what they know. What we really need is a CWO, a Chief Wisdom Officer. And the Chief Wisdom Officer will look back and tell us what we really need to understand to have a humanity in this process. So we've got to understand the past. If we're going to build entire cities and entire frames of cultural and social reference on an uncertain future because we think it's an improvement over everything that's gone better. Look, I'm not saying you go back to the past because it's perfect. I'm saying you learn from the past. You don't divorce yourself from it.